What's up, YouTube? Today we're going to build a character using the Mystara Player's Guide. And this is the second time I've shot this video. The first video I set my camera up on the tabletop, and I got my books out, and I got my character sheet out, and I started going through, and I did the whole video, and I went back and watched it and realized, you really can't see what I'm looking at in the books. You really can't see what I'm writing on the character sheet, and I didn't have to roll a single die. And I didn't even think about that in 5th edition. You could build an entire character without having to roll a single die. So there wasn't really much to look at in the video. So we're going to do this audio, and I'll put up on the screen the particular pages that I'm referencing. So let's get started. So I reached out to Glenn Welsh, the creator and writer of the book, and asked him during playtesting what were popular races and popular classes and what did people have fun with. And he sent me a really nice list, and I read through it, and well, none of them really interested me personally. So I'm going to build one. We're going to create a character that interests me. So what we're going to build is a Ricosta. That's the race that's the race I've chosen. So let's pull up the page here for Ricosta, and let's take a look. Ricosta, it's basically a cat humanoid. Ricostas they're varied in size, from around 5 feet for the domestic Ricosta, nearly 7 feet tall for the greater Ricostas. Likewise, their weight can be anywhere from 90 pounds for the smaller versions to almost 500 pounds for the larger, greater Ricosta. They appear as furry humanoids with feline heads. The smaller Ricostas seem to have heads as ordinary house cats, where the larger of the Ricosta have heads resembling lions and tigers. Their coats can be varied in colors, where the greater Ricosta often have coats similar to tigers and leopards. Alright, let's go right to racial traits. Ability score increase. Your dexterity score increases by 2. Alright, I'll make note of that. Age. Ricostas reach maturity at around 12 years old. They live on average of 90 years. Alignment. Most Ricostas are neutral in alignment. We're going to go with neutral good, I think, for this character. We already discussed size. Speed is 35 feet. Alright, I will notate that on my character sheet. That gets us started. Moving on, we will go to the next page. And that's going to be right here. Languages. You can speak, read, and write Common and Ricosta. Dark vision. You can see in the dark 60 feet. Alright, I will notate both of those things. Languages. And dark vision 60 feet. Fear of water. If you are on a boat or completely wet, you have disadvantage on all skill checks until you get on solid ground and or dry off. Alright, I will notate that under features and traits. Catfall. You have resistance to damage taken from falling. Perfect. Natural weapons. Your claws deal 1d4 slashing damage on an unarmed strike and have the finesse property, which means I guess they can be used either my strength modifier or dex modifier. Weapon proficiency. You have proficiency in the casas, which is a form of short sword you wear over your claws. See weapons on page 213. I'll check that out. And then it gives the different types of Ricosta. There's domestic and greater. The domestic is giving up life in the wilds for the comforts of urban living. Domestic Ricostas are not an uncommon sight. They are an uncommon sight in the larger cities. While they have lost some of their savageries of their kin, They're also known for their almost supernatural good luck. You get an ability score increase for your charisma by 1. And you have the ability of 9 lives. You have advantage on death saving throws. The greater Ricostas, larger of the Ricostas. Greater Ricostas are solitary, hulking brutes. Unlike other Ricostas, the greater Ricosta live alone, hunting prey for themselves. They tend to be irritable and suspicious of outsiders. They can be found in any wilderness, often as hunters or rangers. They get a strength increase by 1, and they have the ability called Roar. You can use a bonus action to roar. All enemies within 10 feet must make a charisma saving throw at DC 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your charisma modifier, becoming an additional save at the end of their turns to break the effect early. You cannot use this ability again until you take a short rest. I'm sorry, and the effect is they become frightened for 1d6 plus 1 rounds on a failure. Wild Ricosta. The most common Ricosta, wild Ricostas, are found in packs in secluded areas or wide open spaces. Known for their ability to leap great distances, they surprise their foes by closing faster than expected. You get a Constitution ability increase of 1, and you get the ability called Pounce. You always count as moved 10 feet before you jump. You can take a bonus action to make a long or high jump. You have advantage on dexterity checks to land in difficult terrain. Alright, so I think we're going to go with the domestic Ricosta. Kind of have an idea for a backstory on this one. So I'm going to charisma bonus of 1. That also is going to help me out on the class I'm thinking about taking. And then 9 lives, I'll write this down. I have advantage on death saving throws. Perfect. Alright, so I've got my domestic Ricosta, neutral good alignment. I've got my disadvantage on skill checks when I'm wet or on a boat. I have resistance to falling damage, advantage on death saves, 60 foot of dark vision, and I speak Common and Ricosta. And I have the natural claws. Alright, let's move on to character class, and then we'll do our ability scores. Okay, so the character class I'm looking at, most interested in, out of the Mystara Player's Guide, is the Zavokani. They are Sorcerer archetype. So the first thing we need to do is go to the good old Player's Handbook and get our base information for our Sorcerer. Alright, Sorcerer. Let's see here, start at the main chart here. So at first level we get a plus 2 proficiency bonus. I will write that down. And first level we'll get our spellcasting and our Sorcerer's Origin. We know 4 cantrips. We have 2 known spells and 2 first level spell slots. And moving over to class features. Our hit dice is 1d6 per level. Our hit points at first level are 6 plus our con modifier. I'll write 6 down here, but maybe we'll change that depending on our ability scores. I have 1d6 hit dice. And proficiencies, armor, none. Weapons, we get daggers, darts, slings, quarterstaffs, and light crossbows. No tool proficiencies as a sorcerer. We have proficiencies in Constitution and Charisma saving throws. And we're going to get to pick 2 skill choices. Either, what are our choices here? Arcana, Deception, Insight, Intimidation, Persuasion, and Religion. Let's go with Arcana and Insight. And I haven't even done my ability scores yet, so that might be bad choices, but I feel like those are the ones that are going to kind of fit this character, I think. Alright, so that's that. Now we can move on to, let's see, don't know that yet. All right, let's do our ability scores. We'll get that out of the way. So we're going to go with the standard array of 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, and 8. So we'll do, let's do 15 in our charisma, and we get a +1 for being a domestic Ricosta, so that's going to make that a 16. We'll put the 14 in, Constitution. The 13 we'll put in Intelligence. The 12 we're going to put in Dex, and we're going to get a +2 from our racial abilities, which will bump that to a 14. The 10 can go in Wisdom, and the 8 in Strength. I like those. So that's going to give us a Strength of 8 with a -1 modifier, a Dexterity of 14 with a +2, Constitution with a 14 and a +2, so that'll give us 2 more hit points, making our hit points 8. Intelligence of 13, which will give us a +1. Wisdom of 10, which gives us no modifier. And a Charisma of 16, which will give us a +3 modifier. So now knowing those, we can do some of our spell abilities. And on our spell sheet here, our spell casting ability will be Charisma. Our spell DC will be 13, which is 8 plus our Charisma modifier plus our proficiency bonus. And our spell attack bonus is our proficiency bonus plus our Charisma bonus, which will give us a +5 for our spell attack bonus. Alright, and we'll fill out our saving throws. Well, we got a +2 proficiency bonus, already got that. Our saving throws will be a -1 for strength, a +2 for dex. Our constitution is +2 plus our +2 proficiency. Intelligence will be +1, wisdom is 0, and our charisma will be +3 plus the +2 proficiency bonus, giving us a +5. And we've got skills, but those may change based on our background. So let's choose a background. Okay, got a little ahead of ourselves here. We need to go back to the Mystara Player's Guide and look at the archetype for the Zavokani. And I won't read all the text. Zavokani is a sorcerer archetype. Practicing ancient magic, your control of magic is from ritual and tradition, not study and immersion. You learned your magic from the Zavokani before you, as tradition was passed down from teacher to student. This is not subtle or civilized magic. It is loud and savage. Your methods resemble that of a tribal shaman more than an archmage. But no one confuses the destruction you can call forth. Let's see, Zavokani are almost exclusively found in the wilderness regions of the known world, far from real wizards study in their libraries. They're mostly humanoids with no formal training at all. Alright, let's go on here. Let's get to the crunchy parts here. Bonus proficiencies. When you choose this archetype at first level, you become proficient in nature and survival. Alright, I will write those down. Dark Tongue of Magic. It's another ability that Zavokani have. You've learned the true language of magic. The very language the immortals spoke when they used the world-shaping magics. Starting at first level, when you begin to cast a spell, you can ignore the somatic and material components without a cost. Verbal components cannot be ignored, and any spell you cast gains a verbal component if it did not have one. Alright, I will write that down. And there's some more cool abilities here at 6th level and 14th level, 18th level. And maybe we'll level up this character in future videos. I'll write those down. I've got my bonus proficiencies. I've got the Dark Tongue of Magic. Perfect. Alright, now I think we can go to our background, which may or may not be controversial, but I'm going to choose the slave background. Let me read a little bit of it here for you. Another sentient being owned you, either in a land where slavery is allowed, like Thyatis or Alphatia, or kidnapped by a criminal organization like the Iron Ring, or humanoids took you. You only recently regained your freedom. Choose who was your master, a noble from a nation where slavery is allowed, a crime boss, a tribe of humanoids, where you were held prisoner. They may have been kind, but more than likely they were brutal. We'll work on that. Skill proficiencies for my background, deception and survival. I already have survival. I can't really double up on that, but we'll get deception. Languages and tool proficiencies. Your language of your master, which would be common, I think, because I'm thinking this character is going to be the slave of a noble Thyacian. Maybe it was like a house slave and treated fairly well, but I guess as well as you can treat someone you own. Okay, and tool proficiencies. One type of artisan tool. So let's say she was like a seamstress. She repaired clothing, made clothing, that sort of thing. That would fit that she was, a house slave and not just a laborer out in the fields or whatever. Equipment. One set of poor clothes, broken manacles, a small personal heirloom blanket, a sack, a small pouch containing 10 silver pieces. Oh, we never got to the starting equipment for the Sorcerer class itself. So we'll have to jump back to that. As a slave, you performed whatever task your master demanded of you. Now that you are free, you have let it be known that you will not be controlled again. Because of your history, there are quite a few things that you give a lot of leeways. Okay. And suggested characteristics. Well, let's roll through these pretty quick. Favorite possession. Let's go with a fine jacket. A fine jacket I stole when I escaped. I don't know if I escaped yet. A tool given to you by your master. Yeah, let's go with those artisan tools. Let's say the master basically gave them those tools, and because he was a fairly kind master, he allowed our character to make their own clothes also. So they just weren't using the tools just for their master. They were using it, they could use it for their own purposes. Personality trait. My master was kind, but I will never admit to that. We're going to go with that one. It's the ideals. Let's go with abolition. I will free all things that I find being held unjustly. And that has a good connotation, which will go with our neutral good alignment. Bonds. There was a slave that taught me how to read, and in maybe this case, taught them how to use their magic. I swear I will free them someday. We'll go with that. And flaws. I rarely get a good night's sleep. We'll go with that. Sure. Now we do need to go back and get our starting sorcerer equipment. Let me find that page. Here we go. A light crossbow and 20 bolts, or any simple weapon. We're going to go with the light crossbow and 20 bolts. A component pouch or an arcane focus. I always like using an arcane focus. Although if we don't need somatic and material components, we'll take it. A Dungeoneer's pack or an Explorer's pack. We'll go with Explorer's pack. And we'll have to go out and... We don't need to, but you can go back into the equipment list and find out what's all included in that. And 2 daggers. That's perfect. Okay, let's filling out this character sheet. Let's go down through our skills. Now that we have all of our skills set and what we're proficient in, I'm just going to run through those skills that we're proficient in, which is Arcana, which is intelligence of +1, plus my perception bonus gives us a +3. Deception, which is charisma, which is a +3, plus my proficiency bonus gives us a +5. Insight is wisdom, which I don't have a modifier on, but I do get proficiency bonus, so it's a +2. Nature is intelligence, which is the +1, +2, gives us a 3. And survival, which is wisdom, which is 0, so we just get the +2 from our proficiency bonus. On our character sheet, we got passive perception, and that's calculated by 10 plus your wisdom modifier plus your proficiency bonus if you're proficient in perception, which this character is not. So it's 10 plus 0, which is 10. And I think that just leaves us with, I've got to fill out our attacks and our damages and our attack bonuses and stuff like that for our weapons. My claws and the light crossbow that I picked, those are going to have my attack bonus. I'm going to use dexterity on those, because claws are considered finesse, and light crossbow I believe uses dexterity as the attack modifier. And I've got a -1 on our strength bonus, so that's going to hurt the damage a little bit. But I think let's move on to spells. And there are some really cool spells listed in the player's guide, and I can put those up on the screen right now. So here you can see the spells of Mystara, the Sorcerer spells, first level, new spells. Let's see, first level, remove the instrument of death, tar, and undead servant. And I've read through those quickly, but I think for this example, we're going to go with some of just the straightforward Sorcerer spells listed right out of the player's handbook. And we get 4 cantrips. And here's our list of spells out of the player's handbook. We're going to go Minor Illusion, Firebolt, Light, and Mage Hand. And we get 2 first level spells. We're going to do Sleep, which is a really cool spell. It was a really good spell in older editions of the game, but it's still a good spell. And Magic Missile, an old favorite. Now, what spells would you have picked? Put a list down in the comments. Let me know what spells you would have picked if you were building this character. Alright, I think we're basically done. Gotta fill in a few things. I gotta fill in all my other skills. Like I said, my attack and damages for my weapons. And a few other things. So where are we at here? We have no name. We have no name. And looking through the race description in the Mystara Player's Guide, we aren't offered any sample names or recommendations of names or whatever. So help me name this character. Put down in the comment section what you would name your first level Domestic Ricosta Zavokani Sorcerer. Our alignment's neutral good. So what would you name him or her? I know the interestingly, the kind of picture they put in the Zavokani description in the player's guide is a female Ricosta. I thought that was pretty cool. Maybe that's what lent me towards picking that class. I don't know. Subconsciously, who knows? All right, so I've got it all on paper here. Maybe I'll take some screenshots and we'll put up the character sheet. And other than that, I think we've got our character done. I know I went through this pretty quick, but if you're familiar with making 5th edition characters already, you're just adding another source. And if you've used things like Xanathar's or other, some of the other books that they've published, then you're used to creating characters that aren't necessarily straight up out of the player's handbook, kind of where you have to jump back and forth from one book to get the base stats and then to the new book to get what the new subclass offers. So thanks for watching. Please like the video, subscribe to my channel, that'd be cool. Again, comment, give me a name and what spells you would have chose. Sure. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.